Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we'll first start with the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunda Bihari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari. Vijana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana, Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana, Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। Hare Krishna, is this mic working? It's not loud enough. Can you hear me at the back? Audible? Not audible. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Good. Hare Gopal. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this Friday satsang. Yesterday was a very auspicious day, Narasimha Chaturdasi. So today we will be narrating the pastimes of Lord Narasimha and his dear devotee, Prahlada Maharaj. Before I start, I would like to express my sincere thanks to His Grace, Shivaguna Krishna Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity to sit here and narrate something about Lord Narasimha and his dear devotee, Prahlada Maharaj. I have no qualification to give this discourse, but to eradicate myself of my Hiranyakashipu tendencies and for the pleasure of all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, I am doing this service. Hare Krishna. So we'll first start with the Mangalacharana prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya-dāsa Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome to our Friday satsang. Today we will have a small discussion on the pastimes of Lord Narasimha, as yesterday was a very auspicious occasion of Narasimha Chaturdasi. So as we know, Radha Krishna worship is the highest form of worship. So then, why do we need to worship Lord Narasimha? Why do we need to worship Lord Narasimha? For protection. Yes, for protection. So as you know, bhakti is not a bed of roses. If you look at the lives of pure devotees like Kunti Devi, the Pandavas, Prahlada Maharaj himself, Dhruva Maharaj, they had to face so many trials and tribulations in their lives. So as sadhakas, we should not think that since we have turned to Krishna consciousness, our lives are going to be very easy. There will be a lot of challenges and obstacles in our lives, and in order to overcome those, we need the blessings of the Lord. And the Lord took the incarnation of a half man, half lion form, Lord Narasimha. Why? Just to mitigate the torment that his dear devotee, Prahlada Maharaj, had to face at the hands of his demoniac father, Hiranyakashipu. So there are three reasons why we need to worship Lord Narasimha Devi. So the first reason, as we already discussed, is to overcome obstacles on the path of bhakti. Now what is the second reason? Brajavasis, when they needed protection, they always used to turn towards they sought shelter from Govardhan Giri. So when Radha Krishna, similarly when they expanded in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Dham, the whole Brajavasis, Vrindavan was transported to Navadvip. Similarly, the Brajavasis were also transported to Navadvip. They became Navadvip Vasis. So once they got transported to Navadvip, then from where did they seek protection? There was no Govardhan there. So they sought protection of Lord Narasimha Devi. So in order to pray in the mood of Navadvip Vasis, we need to seek the shelter of Lord Narasimha Devi. In Chaitanya Leela itself, there are many instances where Lord Narasimha plays the role of protector of the Dham. For instance, when Sri Advaita Prabhu, he wanted to invoke the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every day he used to worship his Sri Narasimha Shaligram Shila with Ganga water and Tulasi leaves. Then when Srivas Thakur once, he heard rumors that a horde of soldiers were coming to kill him. Because at that time the Sankirtan movement was opposed both by the Muslims as well as the Brahmins. The Brahmins were very much against, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was freely giving Hare Krishna Mahamantra to everyone. So the Brahmins, the caste Brahmins, they opposed this. They said that mantra is meant to be chanted softly. It's not to be chanted loud and in the streets like this. And it is to be chanted only by the Brahmins. He can't give it to everyone like this. So the Brahmins were also against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as well as the Muslims. They were also against him, because one of their foremost members in their own caste was the proponent of Sankirtana movement. Who was that? Haridas Thakur. So the Muslims were also very much against the Sankirtana movement. So they went and complained to the Qazi. So there were rumors that the Qazi had sent a horde of soldiers to finish the Sankirtana movement. So when Srivas Thakur, he heard this, he immediately ran into his house. He locked the door and he started worshipping his Narasimha Shaligram Shila. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the mood of Narasimha Dev. He appeared in front of Srivas Thakur's house. He broke open the door and he scolded Srivas Thakur. The person you are worshipping here is standing right in front of you. Then what are you doing there? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in various instances, he used to take the mood of Narasimha Dev. In yet another instance, during the Shraddha ceremony of Srivas Thakur's father, the Brahat Samhita was being chanted, which is none other than the Vishnu Sahasranama. So when the names of Narasimha Dev were chanted, immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got into the mood of, he started exhibiting the symptoms of Narasimha Dev. And yet another instance is that of, you all know the story of Chand Kasi. Chand Kasi had ordered his soldiers to stop the Sankirtana movement. So his soldiers went there and one of them broke the mridanga of one of the devotees. So that evening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his whole horde of followers, they went to the house of Chand Kasi. It was in the evening time, they were all holding torches and they were marching towards Chand Kasi's house. And the moment Chand Kasi saw this huge gathering coming towards his house, he ran in fear to the upper stories of his house. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu consoled him and said, "No, we are not here to create trouble, we just came to talk to you." And at that time, Chand Kasi said that, "I want to confide something in you." So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, what is this? Go ahead." And Chand Kasi said that, "Last night I had a dream. And in that dream, a half man, half lion form appeared in my dream. And he sprang on me and he scratched my chest. And that personality said that, next time if you oppose the Sankirtana movement, I'm going to rip your chest apart. And he in fact showed the claw marks on Kazi's chest. So in various instances, Narasimha Dev has played the role of protector of the Dham. So by praying to Lord Narasimha Dev, we are not going from the highest worship of Radha Krishna, but in fact we are praying in the mood of the Navdeep Vasis, with the hope that one day we will receive the blessings of Radha and Krishna. Hence it's very important to pray to Lord Narasimha Dev both for physical protection as well as spiritual protection. So that is the second reason. First reason, to remove obstacles. Second, to protection. To pray in the mood of Navdeep Vasis. Okay. And the last one, the third one is, our bhakti is compared to what? A creeper, a devotional creeper, Bhakti Lata. So this Bhakti Lata, this devotional creeper, can be easily eaten by a sheep or a cow. Then what to say of a mad elephant? So when we commit offences, especially Vaishnava Aparad, it is called as the mad elephant offence because it will completely destroy our bhakti, our devotional creeper. So the lion can be subdued only by which animal? By which animal? The lion. So we should take shelter of the transcendental lion in order to get protection from all kinds of aparadas, be it Vaishnava Aparada, Nama Aparada, Seva Aparada, Jiva Aparada, any kind of aparada. So for that we need to take protection of Lord Narasimha Dev. So yesterday was Narasimha Chaturdasi, and this beautiful story of Lord Narasimha Dev is described in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as in other Puranas like the Narasimha Purana. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the story from the viewpoint of Prahlada Maharaj's devotion to the Lord. So Prahlada was only 5 years old, and he was one of the 4 sons of the demoniac king Hiranyakashipu. What does Hiranyakashipu mean?
Hiranya means gold. Kashipu means soft bed.
Yes. Hiranya means gold and Kashipu means soft bedding. So one who is after gold and the material comforts of life is the meaning of Hiranyakashipu. And this is the ultimate aim of all materialistic men. So Hiranyakashipu was the twin brother of Hiranyaksha. What does Hiranyaksha mean? Hiranya means gold. Aksha means high. So one who is always after gold. So his brother was also of the same mentality. He was always after gold to such an extent that he indulged in excess of mining of gold. And as a result, what happened to Bhumi Devi? Her balance was disturbed and she fell off the orbital path. And the Lord had to come in the form of Varaha to place her back in her orbit. So both of them in their previous births, who were they? Jaya and Vijaya. They were the Dwarapalakas of Vaikuntha Loka. So one day, the sons of Brahma, the 4 sons that you see here, they are the 4 Kumaras. The Kumaras, they are actually great sages. Though they are in a child's body, they are very wise sages they were. So the 4 Kumaras, they decided to go to Vaikuntha. And they crossed the 6 gateways. And when they reached the 7th gateway, they were stopped by the doorkeepers there. And they were Jaya and Vijaya. They mistook them for some ordinary children. So they said, "You are not allowed here. We can't let you in." The Kumaras, they got very angry. And they cursed Jaya and Vijaya. They said that for this offense that you created, you will have to take birth in the material world. So Jay and Vijay became very perturbed. At that time, the Lord came and actually pacified them and said, this is a part of my pastime actually. So you can go to the material world. You just have to take 3 births. Just take 3 births and you will have to become my enemies. Because I want to engage in Virya Rasa with you. I want to engage in fighting with you. So you will take birth as 3 demoniac personalities and 3 births. So the first birth was that of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And second was Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Then the third was Shishupala and Dantavaka. So they took 3 births and finally they came back to the spiritual worlds, Vaikuntha and Loka. So this is the background story. Now coming to what happened in forefront is that of Prahlada. So Hiranyakashipu was very angry with the Supreme Lord, with Vishnu, because his twin brother Hiranyaksha was killed by Vishnu, who came in the form of a boar, who came in the form of Varaha. So this is the nature of demons. They are very much against God. In the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna tells Arjuna, Asatyam apratishtamte jagat ahur anishwaram. Krishna in the 16th chapter is explaining the divine and demoniac qualities of people. He says that there are people with divine qualities and there are people with asuric qualities, demoniac qualities. So those with divine qualities, they follow the instructions of the Lord, they follow the Shastras and they live accordingly. Whereas asuras, how do they live? They go against the Shastras. They will live their lives whimsically. So the typical mentality of asuras is mentioned here by Krishna. He says that, how do they think? Asatyam. They say that this world is not real. Asatyam. Apratishtamte. And this world has no foundation. Jagat ahur anishwaram. Ishvara means God. They say that anishwaram. Anishwaram means there is no God. So they claim that there is no God in this jagat, to control this jagat. So this is the typical mentality of demons, or those with asuric mentalities. So in Kali Yuga there are plenty of demons. Wherever you look, there are plenty of demons around us. But they are not kind of demons that we have the picture in our minds. They don't come with horns or protruding teeth. So how do you make out who has demonic qualities or not? So in Satya Yuga, the asuras and demons were in different planets. When it came to Treta Yuga, they started living in different countries, like Lord Ramachandra and Ravana. Then when it came to Dwapara Yuga, the asuras and demons, asuras and devas were in same families, like the Pandavas and Kauravas. What about in Kali Yuga? It's within the same person. So once in a while we can also feel that demoniac quality is coming up in us. Correct? So coming back to our story. So Hiranyakashipu, he decided, because of this demonic mentality, he decided to do austerity. Not to gain favor of the Lord, but to increase his power, increase his demoniac likings. So he decided to do intense tapasya. So he went to Mount Kailas, and what did he do? He started standing there, not on his feet, he was standing on his toes. He stood there with his arms upraised and he started doing severe penance. So Brahma, who is the secondary creator of this world, who is the creator of this material world, Brahma became very disturbed seeing the penance of Hiranyakashipu. So Brahma's son came, Narada. Narada came and asked his father, "Father, why are you looking so disturbed? What happened?" So Brahma said, "This is the situation. Hiranyakashipu, this demonic fellow, is doing a lot of austerities and penance. I don't know what he's going to ask for." So Narada said, "Don't worry, I will break his penance. Give me that responsibility, I'll do it." So what did Narada do? He and his friend, his accomplice, Parvata Muni, they went to Kailas, where Hiranyakashipu was doing severe penance. And they took the form of 2 sparrows. and they were sitting on the branch of a tree, near to where Hiranyakashipu was doing his penance. And Narada Muni, he very sweetly sang the mantra, Namo Narayanaya. He sang the mantra, Namo Narayanaya. He sang it very sweetly. So the moment Hiranyakashipu heard this mantra, he got so angry. Why? Because Narayana, Vishnu, is his sworn enemy. So the moment he heard the voice of his sworn enemy, he got so angry and his penance was disturbed, his penance was broken. And so in that fit of rage, he took his bow and arrow and he aimed at the two sparrows. He aimed towards the branch of that tree. But by that moment, the sparrows flew away and Hiranyakashipu's penance was broken. So Hiranyakashipu had to come back to his palace, and there he met his beautiful wife, Kayadu. So Kayadu was surprised seeing Hiranyakashipu had come back so early, because he had told her, I'm going to do penance for 10,000 years, and Hiranyakashipu had come back. So Kayadu, his beautiful wife, asked him, Oh Lord, why have you come back? You said that you're going to do penance, you're going to do severe austerities. What happened? So Hiranyakashipu narrated the story to her, and he repeated this mantra also to her. And after that, they had union. So just because Hiranyakashipu had heard this mantra from the lips of a pure devotee, and Kayadu had heard this mantra from her husband, the child that was born to them was of divine qualities. And who was that child? Prahlada Maharaj. So this is an important lesson that as devotees we have to take, that begetting children is not like that of animals. If you want to beget a child with divine qualities, it all depends upon your consciousness, upon your mentalities. That's why there is something known as Garbhadana Samskara in the Vedas. So those who want to have children, they should go through that samskara, and if they do so, they will have their child with divine qualities. Otherwise, if in a mood of passion, if you beget children, the kind of child may be that of an asuric quality. So this is an important lesson that one has to take. So there is another story in the Narasimha Purana which explains how Prahlada became a asura son. So once upon a time, there was a very pure Brahmana by the name Vasu Sharma who lived in this place of Avantipura. So he had a very chaste wife called Sushila, and they had 5 sons. And because they were such pure people, they were known throughout the 3 worlds. They were very famous. So they had 5 sons, and the youngest of them was Prahlada. So in that birth he was known as Vasudeva. So as with all children, the youngest one, what was the problem with the youngest one? He was a spoiled kid. He was not like his elder brothers. His elder brothers were very learned. They lived according to Shastras. They were very pure Brahmanas. But the youngest one, by the name of Vasudeva, he did not follow any scriptural injunctions. He did not listen to his father, and he indulged in all kinds of sinful activities. So he had association with a prostitute. So one night he had a big quarrel with this prostitute. So throughout that night they kept on quarreling. They did not sleep and they did not have food either. And coincidentally, that day happened to be Narasimha Chaturdasi. So just by fasting on that day, staying awake on that day, they got the result of that. So this prostitute, since she was very much attached to material enjoyment, she took birth in the heavenly planets as an Apsara, and later on she became a devotee of Lord Narasimha Dev. Whereas Prahlada Maharaj, because he had association with the prostitute, he had to take birth as a demon son. But at the same time, because he fasted on Narasimha Chaturdasi, he took birth as a devotee. So when Kayadu was pregnant, and Lord Hiranyakashipu, he decided to do penance again. So this time he went to Mandarachala mountains and he did penance for 36,000 years. Severe penance he did. And the intensity of his penance, of his austerity, was so much that fire started to emanate from his head. Smoke started to cover all the three worlds. The upper, middle and lower planetary systems started to become started to get disturbed. The universal, the cosmic balance was starting to get upset. So all the devas, they went to Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma is the chief architect of this material world, the secondary creator. They pleaded to Brahma, "Oh Lord, please do something about this, because Hiranyakashipu, his austerities are getting too much. Please do something." So Lord Brahma, he arrived there and he asked him, because by that time Hiranyakashipu was totally covered with an ant hill. So Lord Brahma came, and from his water pot he sprinkled some water, and the ant hill dissolved and emerged. From that emerged Hiranyakashipu. He had become totally emaciated. His body was half eaten by ants, because he's been meditating for how many years? 36,000 years he's been doing severe penance. So Lord Brahma said, "Oh my son, what do you want? I'm pleased by your austerities. Even demigods cannot match you. What do you want from me?" And what did Hiranyakashipu ask? He said, "I want to become immortal." And Lord Brahma said, "Even I am a mortal. I am not immortal, so I cannot grant you that." So then Hiranyakashipu very cunningly, he placed many demands in front of Brahma. He said that I should not be killed inside or outside my residence. I should not be killed during the day or night. I should not be killed on the ground or in the sky. I should not be killed by any human or animal. I should not kill by any demigod or demon. I should be killed by any weapon or any entity, living or non-living. So he put various permutations and combinations, because he thought that he was very clever. By asking for these boons, he can live forever. So Brahma just smiled, because he knew that Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, has a plan. Whatever combinations or permutations you put forward, the Lord can upset everything. So Brahma just smiled and he said, "Tadastu, okay, so be it." And he granted him these boons. So during the absence of Hiranyakashipu, what happened in his kingdom? His wife Kayadu was pregnant. So the demigods, devas, found this the right time to take over of the demon's kingdom. He's not here. This is the best time. So they went to Hiranyakashipu's place. They took over the place and they found Kayadu. And Kayadu was pregnant. So they thought, we'll finish off Kayadu, because anyway she is bearing a demon son. If Hiranyakashipu is like this, then his son will be an even more evil fellow. So better to finish off them both. So they were about to kill Kayadu, and at that time who intervened? Nardamuni came. Nardamuni came and said, "Stop, don't do this. Don't do this heinous activity. The child that Kayadu is bearing is that of divine qualities. He is the Lord's devotee, so don't kill him." And Nardamuni did something very spectacular, which no sannyasi would do. What did he do? He took her to his ashram. No sannyasi would take a lady to his ashram. But Nardamuni had a plan in mind. He took Kayadu to his ashram and he started giving instructions to Kayadu. So Kayadu, most of the time, because she was tired, she used to sleep. Whereas, who was in her womb? Prahlada. Prahlada Maharaj used to listen to all these instructions. So Narada used to tell about the purpose of life, who living entity is, who the Supreme Personality of God is, what is the purpose of every individual, how to render service to that Supreme Lord. So all these instructions Narada used to give. And the child being in the womb used to respond. Every time Narada used to say anything, the child would respond by saying, used to respond like that. So he was hearing everything. So there is no age. People say that spirituality we have to learn after everything is over, after our material duties are over, once we retire from our material life. That is the best time to study Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Is it true? No. There is no age Anyone can learn the scriptures. And here Prahlada Maharaj is setting a perfect example. He was not even born. And he had already started taking Upadesh from his spiritual master, Narada Muni. So, by the time Hiranyakashipu came back with renewed strength and vigor, and he defeated all the 33 crore demigods he defeated. And he took over of the upper, middle and lower planetary systems. All three worlds came under the control of Hiranyakashipu. And the demigods became his menial servants. Everything was stopped. Offerings to Vishnu were stopped. All dharmic activities were stopped. Everything came to a standstill. And everyone was forced to accept Hiranyakashipu as God. Everyone was forced to serve him. So Hiranyakashipu was very much attached to his younger son, Prahlada. By that time, Prahlada had become 5 years old. So he sent his son to a Gurukul. Actually, it was not a Gurukul, it was a Asurakul. Because everything against Dharma was taught there. So the Guru of the demons was, who was it? Shukracharya. Shukracharya was not there at that time. So Hiranyakashipu entrusted Shukracharya's sons, Shanda and Amarka. The word Shanda means bull. The nature of a bull is very lusty. And Arka means light. So Amarka means where there is no light. Okay? So he called Shanda and Amarka, and he instructed them that you have to take care of my son, Prahlada. Okay? Teach him everything. Teach him about mundane religious duties, about economic development, about sense gratification, about liberation, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Teach him everything in this. And especially teach him politics. You should teach him how to defeat enemies, how to acquire kingdoms, and how to hide the truth by diplomacy. So, you should teach him politics. So, Shanda and Amarka took care of Prahlada and they tried to teach him politics. They taught him how to recognize a friend from a foe. Then Prahlada Maharaj said, nobody is an enemy for me. Everyone is equal to me. Because the Lord is situated in the hearts of everyone. Then how can anyone be my enemy? The only enemy that I have is my mind. So Shanda and Amarka, they used to get perplexed. What is this boy saying? We are trying to teach him something and he is something completely opposite. But they didn't pay much attention and they continued teaching him. So after 4 to 5 months, Prahlada returned from the Gurukul and Kayadu, his mother, welcomed him. She decorated him and then she brought him in front of his father, Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu was so pleased to see his son, and he placed him on his lap and he said, "Oh my dear son, what did you learn? Let me hear what you learned from your gurus." So who was his guru? Narada Muni. Narada Muni was his guru. So what Prahlada learned from his guru, he said here. Hitvatma padam grihamantakupam vanam gato yat derim ashrayata. So he told, Hitvatma padam griham antakupam. Griham antakupam. This grihastha life, this householder life is nothing but a blind well. Because you are always in anxiety. You are always trying to make up plans of how to conquer kingdoms. You are always so much in anxiety. So this householder life is just like a blind well. And instead he gave a solution also. What did he say? Vanam gato yat derim asrayeta. You should go to a vanam. You should go to a forest and take shelter of whom? Hari. You take shelter of Hari. And who was Hari? The sworn enemy of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, initially he took it very lightly. He laughed. And he thought, oh my dear son, someone has brainwashed you. Someone has brainwashed you. And he called his he called his gurus, Chanda and Amarka, and he asked them, and they said, we are teaching the right stuff. You taught us to teach him politics, we are teaching him that, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, we are teaching him everything. But we don't know from where he has learnt all this. I think some Vaishnava is coming in disguise and trying to brainwash your child. But as Brahmanas, we are doing our job sincerely. We are doing our job sincerely. So please don't accuse us that we are not doing our jobs. So Hiranyakashipu said, okay, so find out who is behind this. Then after a few months again, he called his son. And this time, Prahlada explained that, oh father, you should do the 9 types of devotional service. What are they? Sarvanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sparanam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. So he started extolling about bhakti, the glories of bhakti, and this was too much for Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu got extremely furious. He threw his son from his lap and he said, you are a rascal, you are a spy, you have come to destroy me, you are my enemy. You have come to destroy this whole dynasty. Just imagine he's speaking to his 5-year-old son. But Prahlada Maharaj, he just remained calm. And Hiranyakashipu decided, enough of education, enough of going to the Gurukul. It is high time that I killed him. So again, see how a demon thinks. He's thinking of killing his own son, thinking that his son is his own enemy. So he tried to torture Prahlada Maharaj in various ways. He tried to throw him from a cliff. He put him in a cage of poisonous snakes. He tried to get him trampled by elephants. He put him in a cage of lions. The lions just came and started licking Prahlada. And he tried all various kinds of ways to kill Prahlada Maharaj, but nothing worked out. Because why? Prahlada Maharaj had taken complete shelter of the Supreme Lord. So when everything failed, Hiranyakashipu called his wife Kayadu and he said, give him this kheer, the sweet kheer. And she told her, mix poison in it and give this poison kheer to your son. So naturally, Kayadu being his mother, she said, I can't do this heinous act. I can't kill my own son. He's my son. I can't do it. Then Hiranyakashipu emotionally blackmailed his wife. He said, first you became my wife and then only after that you became his mother. So you better listen to me. Give this poison kheer to your son. So when this kheer was given to Prahlada Maharaj, this white kheer and poison on it, how did Prahlada Maharaj see it? He saw Vishnu there, lying on a milk ocean, and he gleefully he drank the poison kheer, and again nothing happened to Prahlada Maharaj. So Hiranyakashipu was so astonished. So many methods he had tried to kill his son and nothing was working out. And then he asked him, who is giving you the strength? And then Prahlada Maharaj said, the same person that is giving strength to you, he is giving strength to me. So he said that Vishnu is giving strength to me. And he said, Father, why are you against Vishnu? He is your well-wisher. You need not be against him. Your own enemy is not Vishnu. Your enemy is your own mind, he said. Vishnu is your well-wisher. So when we see someone as our friend or enemy, we should understand that this is because we are conditioned by this material life. We are afflicted by material life. That is why we see someone as my enemy and someone as my friend. Because in this world, the nature of this material world is full of dualities. If there is friend, there will be enemy. There is heat, there is cold. So it's a world of dualities. So it is our mind which makes us think like that. This person is my friend and this person is my enemy. So here, Prahlada Maharaj was instructing his father that your own mind is your enemy. Vishnu is not your enemy. But Prahlada Maharaj's preaching was going in vain. And Hiranyakashipu was getting increasingly angry. And at the same time, Though he was getting angry, at the same time his affection for his son was also coming out. He was almost on the verge of tears, Hiranyakashipu. He was saying, my dear son, why are you like this? Why can't you just be like me? Why are you being against me? Why are you going against my orders? And then Prahlada said, I am not against you actually. I am actually giving you these instructions for your welfare. If you surrender to Vishnu, you will get the maximum benefit. In fact, Prahlada Maharaj, in his class, what did he do? He preached to all his classmates. And very soon, Hari Kirtan was going on in their class. And Shanda and Amarka were at their wits' end. They didn't know what to do. They were trying to teach all the kids, and here they were doing Hari Kirtan in their class. So they went and complained to Hiranyakashipu. They said, the situation is getting out of our hands. We don't know what to do. The only enemy in this kingdom is your son. He is the one who's behind all this commotion. We have nothing to do with this. Okay? And they just washed their hands off. And they said, they put the blame everything on Prahlada. They said, Prahlada is the cause of all this problems. So he is your enemy, so you better finish him off. We are not responsible for anything. So Hiranyakashipu was in a great mental turmoil also. So meanwhile, the Devas, the situation was getting very increasingly difficult for them. They were not able to do any yajnas, no dharmic activities they were not able to do anything. So they approached the Supreme Lord, and the Lord said, okay, be patient, remain calm. Hiranyakashipu is a fool. Very soon he will offend my devotee Prahlada, and at that time I will appear and I will finish him off. So he gave that assurance to the Devas, and he said, for the time being, you please go. I'll take care of everything. So Hiranyakashipu was going through great mental turmoil, and he finally decided, enough is enough. I'm going to finish Prahlada with my own hands. But since he was his son, he was not able to do that also. So he said, instant, where is your Vishnu? Call your Vishnu. I'll finish him off first. Then I'll deal with you later. Is he here? Then Prahlada said, yes, he is everywhere. Ito Narasimha, Parato Narasimha, Yato yami, Tato Narasimha, Bahir Narasimha, Hridaye Narasimha, Narasimham Madim, Saranam Prapati. Ito Narasimha, Parato Narasimha. Which means Narasimha is here as well as there. Yato yami, Tato Narasimha. Wherever I go, Narasimha is there. Bahir Narasimha, Hridaye Narasimha. He is in our hearts as well as he is outside as well. Narasimham Madim, Saranam Prapati. I surrender to Lord Narasimha, who is the origin of all things. So this is the vision of a pure devotee. As in Bhagavad Gita again 6.29, Bhagavan says, Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Sama Darshana. Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. A true yogi observes me in all beings. Sarva Bhutani Chatmani. And he sees every being in me. Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma. This is the vision of one who is self-realized. This is the vision of a pure devotee. Sarvatra Samadarshana. They see everything with equal vision. Therefore, Prahlada was a very advanced devotee. He was an advanced yogi. And he was remaining calm and composed. His father was trying to torture him, trying to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlada was remaining calm and composed. So Hiranyakashipu asked him, what do you mean that he is here everywhere? Is he in this pillar? And Prahlada looked at the pillar, and actually he got darshan of Narasimha Dev. He saw that Narasimha Dev was getting ready for the action. He was flexing his body, and he actually winked at Prahlada. And Prahlada said, yes, he is there in this pillar. And then what did Hiranyakashipu do? Such a strong personality he was. Using his fist, he just pounded the marble pillar. And a tumultuous sound arose from that. And it said that the sound was so loud that it shook the three worlds. The three planetary systems just shook. And out of that came an amazing form. And that is again described in Bhagavatam, which describes the entry of Lord Narasimha Dev. It says that Satyam Vidatum Nijapritya Bhashitam Vyaptim Cha Bhuteshu Akileshu Chatmanaha Adrishyat Adrishyata Adbhuta Rupam Muttvaham Stambe sabhayam na mrigam na manusham. Satyam vidatam nija britya bhashitam. To prove the words of his pure devotee Prahlada, Vyatim cha bhutvesh akileshu chatmanaha. And to prove that he is present everywhere, even in the pillar of an assembly hall. Adrishyata adbhuda rupam udvahan. What did the Lord do? He exhibited a wonderful form that nobody had seen before. This was a very peculiar form. And what is that form? Stambe Samba from the pillar came na mrigam na manusham. The form was neither that of a man nor a lion. So Hiranyakashipu was stunned to see this beautiful form of Lord Narasimha Dev. Narasimha Bhagwan ki! So Narasimha Dev came, emerged from that pillar, and he was roaring. He came in that Ugra form. His eyes were like molten gold. His mane, his golden mane was shining. His neck was short. And he came with 16 hands with all weapons in his hands. And his teeth looked deadly. His nostrils and his mouth were like huge caves of a mountain. And his shoulders were broad and his waist was slender. And his jaws were parted and his entire body, he was so huge that his entire body, they said that the top of his body reached Satyaloka and his feet reached Padalaloka. And the hairs on his body were as white as the rays of the moon. And his arms were so strong, it looked like so many flanks of soldiers. So for a moment, Hiranyakashipu, seeing this form, he was stunned for a moment, because he had never seen a form like this before. For a moment he was stunned, and then he came back to his senses. And he thought that, oh, Vishnu is trying to play a trick on me. No matter what form he comes, I am going to finish off Vishnu. So again, this is demonic mentality. They think that they are all powerful. They are even powerful than God. They can do whatever they like. So what did Hiranyakashipu do? He rushed towards Narasimha Dev with his weapons. And Hiranyakashipu, despite being a very strong personality, he had conquered the 3 planetary systems. The 33 crore demigods were under his feet. They were serving him like menial servants. So he was not just an ordinary personality. He was a very powerful personality. But Shastra describes the passage of Hiranyakashipu towards Lord Narasimha was like a fly darting itself into a fire. What happens when a fly moves into the fire? It dies, right? So Hiranyakashipu was actually fleeing towards his death personified. That is Lord Narasimha Dev. So he rushed towards Lord Narasimha Dev. And for some time Lord Narasimha, he played with Hiranyakashipu. And then finally, just like a wasp which is crushed between the palms of one finger, he picked up Hiranyakashipu, placed him on his lap, and then he tore his stone-like chest and abdomen. He just tore it apart. And what did he do? He first took his heart. He took Hiranyakashipu's heart. And he said that this heart is so impure. Heart is where the Paramatma stays, where the Lord is supposed to stay. This is full of lobam, kamam, krodham. This is such an impure heart. I can't stay here. And he just threw away the heart. And then he took to the intestines of Hiranyakashipu and he put it around his neck. So Acharya has given explanation for that, why he threw the heart and instead adorned himself with the intestine. Because they said that Hiranyakashipu, whenever he used to call out Prahlada, Vishnu, usually when he speaks the voice comes from here, right? When he gave other orders, it used to come from here. But whenever he used to whenever he used to call out Prahlada, whenever he used to call out Vishnu, it was not coming from here. It was coming from the sound was coming from here, from his stomach. So by the time his stomach had become purified. So again in Vedic culture, whenever a guest comes, we offer them a seat, we garland them, and then we give them some water. So all three things happened here also. Narasimha Dev was given the seat of Hiranyakashipu's. He was given water in the form of Hiranyakashipu's blood and garland in the form of intestines. So all three conditions were met here. So Narasimha Dev still, he was so angry. Hiranyakashipu was dead by then. But his anger still went on unabated. He continued to roar, and the rest of Hiranyakashipu's army came and they tried to attack Narasimha Dev. But very easily he just crushed the whole army of Hiranyakashipu. So everyone was vanquished, but still Narasimha Dev was roaring. The whole world, the whole three worlds were shaking. The Devas were so afraid to even approach him. Everyone rejoiced that Hiranyakashipu was finally dead. And they started showering garlands, they started singing hymns, and they started glorifying the Supreme Lord. But no one was bold enough to go near him. They were maintaining a distance. And Brahma said, Lakshmi Devi, you are his wife. Why didn't you go and console him? And Lakshmi Devi said, no way. I've never seen such a form of my husband. I'm not going near him. Then finally Brahma said, okay, Prahlada, you go and please pacify him. So Prahlada, with folded palms, he approaches the Lord and goes near him and he garlands him. And at that time, Narasimha Dev, he becomes pacified. So as soon as he became pacified and he blessed Prahlada by placing his hand on his head, Prahlada offered his prayers and glorified him and said that I'm not afraid of this particular form of yours, but I'm afraid of only one thing. Prahlada said, I'm afraid of only one thing. And what is that? I'm afraid of this material nature. I'm afraid that I might forget you. I might lose my Krishna consciousness. That is the only thing that I'm afraid of. And he asked for three things. He said, please give me your mercy so that I won't ever forget you. Please engage me in your service. That is the second thing he asked for. And the third thing is, he said, please forgive my father. So this shows the compassion of Prahlada Maharaj. He was so compassionate, and this is the mode of a pure devotee. Just imagine someone who has been torturing you, trying to kill you repeatedly. What would your mentality be towards them? It would never be of compassion, right? But here, Prahlada was so compassionate that he said, please forgive my father. And Lord Narasimha Dev said, not just your father, just because you took birth in this particular dynasty, 21 generations have been liberated. I've blessed all of them, so don't worry. And he said, what else do you want? And Prahlada Maharaj said, please don't tempt me any further. I only want to serve you. And he said one more thing, please liberate all these fools. Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udvahato Vimudhan. 7.9.43. Mudha means fool. Vimudha means super fools. So Prahlada Maharaj said, the people in this world, in this material world, they are so much engaged in materialistic activities. They don't even think of you. So these Vimudhas, please liberate them. So this is the mood of Prahlada Maharaj. He was so compassionate. He didn't think about himself. He was praying for the rest of humanity. He said, please liberate these Vimudhas. So in this way, Prahlada Maharaj became the greatest and youngest preacher of Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Narasimha Dev, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So Lord Narasimha Dev became very pleased with him. And Prahlada Maharaj, he exhibited the real meaning of a devotee and what compassion really means. So Lord Narasimha Dev is so compassionate, even to non-devotees, he shows his compassion. What to speak of non-devotees, even to Mayavadis also he shows his compassion. There is the story of Padmapada. With that small story I'll stop. So who was Padmapada? Shankaracharya's, one of the principal disciples of Shankaracharya. Before he became Padmapada, he was known as Sananda. So once he received the Narasimha mantra Upadesham from a saint, and he started chanting Narasimha mantra every day. So after some days he wanted to get darshan of Lord Narasimha. So he went to a forest and he started meditating, started chanting the names of Lord Narasimha. So at that time a hunter came and asked him, Swamiji, why are you here in this forest? What brings you here? And Sananda said that if he explains about this half man, half lion form, this ordinary hunter is not going to understand what I am going to say. So he said that I am looking for an animal that resembles like a human from below the hip and looks like a lion on the top. And that the hunter said, I have never seen, I know this forest in and out. I know every nook and corner of this forest, but I have never seen such an animal. But if there is an animal like that, I will bring it to you. So Sananda just smiled, because Mayavadis, they don't really believe in the form of the Lord. So the hunter asked him the reason for his smile, and Sananda said that it is in this forest, but you cannot see it. So you better go and do your work. Don't bother, just go and do your work, he said. But this hunter was so determined that he said, Swamiji, don't worry, I'll bring this particular creature in front of you. If I don't bring it within 2 days, I will end my life. I'll commit suicide. So he's so determined he was. So this hunter went in search of this particular creature, half man, half lion form. And the first day he even forsake his sleep and food. And he went on searching and he couldn't find this particular creature. Second day, evening had approached. Again he failed. He was not able to find this creature. So he decided to end his life. He built a fire and he was about to jump into that fire. Then Lord Narasimha appeared before him. And this hunter said, where were you all this time? 2 days without food and water and sleep. I've been searching for you. And you're coming now? Come with me. He didn't know who Narasimha was. He thought it was another creature in the forest. So just to make sure that this creature doesn't run away from him, he just put a rope around his neck and he pulled Narasimha along with him to Padmapada. And all along they were chatting together and going towards where Padmapada was doing his penance. So Padmapada is seeing the scene. He's seeing the hunter coming. Along with him there's a rope, and the rope is in the air, dangling in the air. So the hunter came and said that, Swamiji, this is the creature that you asked for. I brought this half man, half lion form. And Padmapada looked at him and said, are you joking? I can't see anything. I can only see this rope that you're hanging, and it's hanging in the air. And at that time he heard this rumbling sound coming from Lord Narasimha. Padmapada was only able to hear that sound. And the sound said that, because you don't believe in your form, I won't display my form to you now. But because this hunter had pure faith in me, I exhibited my form to you. And then the story goes on. On another occasion, I'll exhibit my form to you. And that's another part of the story. So what I was trying to say that Lord Narasimha is so merciful. And on this day of Narasimha Chaturdasi, which was actually yesterday, we should pray to the lotus feet of Lord Narasimha and his dearmost devotee, Prahlada Maharaj, so that all the demoniac anarthas in our heart are ripped apart, and thereby we can move forwards on the path of bhakti. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.